Hey guys, Craig with Leadershipmentor.com. Welcome back to another presentation. In this session, I want to talk to you again about some things that you can do as a supervisor or to become a supervisor that are going to really help you find success in this position. I think the first one is be willing to do the job that you want. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with both supervisors and people that are aspiring to be promoted up into a leadership role. And oftentimes they find that they're doing things that they're not necessarily getting paid for. And so they express a concern that, well, this isn't really part of my job. The problem with that is I can't tell if you're going to be a good supervisor, a good leader of people, or any other role that you're really trying to get into. If you're trying to get into a reporting function or something else, I don't know if you're going to be good at that role unless I can see you in that role. And so it's kind of a catch-22, and that's happened so many times where I have some people that have a lot of really good potential, but then they have this area where they come to and they say, this isn't really part of my job. I don't feel like I'm getting paid enough to do it. And I'm not saying that we abuse our people and we have them do things that are way outside of their job description, but we do have to, at some point, understand that there's things that we're going to have to do in order for the person or the organization to see what we're able to do, what we're capable of doing in order for us to fill that new role. So I think it's really important that you have the ability to kind of stretch what you're doing and to be willing to do some things that are outside of your comfort zone, some things that are outside of your probably normal job description if you want to get that promotion. One of the areas of caution that I have in this is oftentimes what I see is a supervisor will start their new role and then they quickly want to start doing things that are going to apply to this. They're going to start doing things that are outside of their standard expectations, kind of what we talk about success factors. And they fail to complete the standard things that are part of their core job. So what that would look like is, let's say that you're a supervisor, you've been in that role for 6 months, and all of a sudden you start doing some things that are outside of your role. Now you start to neglect core functions within your role. And so your manager actually looks at that and sees, well, it's good that you're doing those extra things, and I appreciate that. The challenge, obviously, is that you're doing them, but you're neglecting the core area of your position. So we have to make sure that we're ready to take that next step. And that's all part of effective communication between you and your manager to make sure that those core things are covered. And that obviously is a great way to develop people on your team, is to have them start to take those things over. So you're starting to oversee those things, but you're not actually doing the core activities of the role. So you have to really know when to move into that next phase, where the things that you have that are success factors or your core functions are covered, and then you can move into those other areas. So I think that's really important, that you're willing to do the job you want, but only to the extent that you're able to maintain the expectations in your core function. The second area that I think is really important is know the difference between being busy and being productive. I remember working with a supervisor in a larger organization, and we had probably 30 to 40 people in her same position. And at the end of every day, I would leave and most of the staff was gone, but I'd always see her sitting at her desk working, and she was there sometimes 1 or 2 hours after other people. So I think in her mind, it was her way of demonstrating that she was really dedicated and a hard worker. And when I look at how she was performing compared to every other person in her role, and that's really what we need to do. We can't evaluate somebody on effort. We have to evaluate them based on results. And when I did look at the results between her and her peers, there wasn't a significant difference. She was probably average, and honestly, there were other people that were performing probably far better than her, and they were actually working far fewer hours. We have to make sure that we're looking at being productive, doing the things that are important, not necessarily just putting in that effort. If I'm willing to work 12-hour days, but I spend those 12 hours doing the wrong things or not doing those things very well, I'm not an effective leader. So it's super important that we look at that and we evaluate that what we're doing is productive work, not just busy work. The next one I want to talk about is understand that you set the tone and pace for your team. I think this issue tends to sneak up on us a lot over time. So we start out by creating guidelines and rules and procedures and expectations that we have just in general for our team. And so obviously we tend to follow those or should be following those ourselves. And that's why those are there. But what tends to happen is when we have those really, really busy days, we can find ourselves as a leader cutting corners and not necessarily following those same guidelines that we expect other people to follow. As a leader of people, we have to remember that we are always being watched. People are looking at what we're doing, at what we're saying. What is the tone when we speak to other people? So we may be telling people on our team that it's really important that you're respectful, that you listen, that you don't talk over somebody else. But then if I'm doing that, if I get stressed out and I turn around and have a conversation with somebody and I'm talking over them and I'm frustrated, that's not demonstrating the same expectations that I have for you as a team member. How quickly do we respond to emails and chats and voicemails? If I'm telling you as a team that it's really important that we're responsive to our customers, responsive to each other within the organization, but then you send me an email and I don't get back to you for 2 or 3 days, that again is setting a negative tone and saying that, well, that's not really important for everybody to follow. What's the quality of work that we do? Do we have poor grammar or spelling? So if I'm sending out emails to you as a team member and that email tends to have some grammatical errors or there's some spelling errors in there, that's not really setting the right example, the right tone for the team as well. So I'm not telling you that those things are important if I'm not doing them myself. So we should always make sure that what we're doing has quality work. So I learned that a long time ago, that when I'm sending out an email, I proofread it twice. I want to make sure that what I'm sending out doesn't have any spelling errors, doesn't have any grammatical errors in it. Are you always on time for the start of your day or meetings? That's another area that's crucial, that as a leader, I need to demonstrate that being on time and being timely for things is really important. So if I'm showing up late for a one-on-one with you, if I'm late for that all the time, that's not really setting the tone or setting the expectations, again, that timeliness is important. I should be respecting your time, whether you're a team member or whether it's a client or a customer. That's very important that I'm demonstrating that I respect you and I respect your time. The next one I want to share with you is to start and end your day at 10,000 feet. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you manage a team, there's a large part of our day that's really out of our control to a certain extent. And we have to remember that our job is really to make your team better and to help them accomplish their professional goals and objectives. So that really requires that we provide real-time feedback during the day, that we're monitoring what's going on and that we're help guiding and leading people, that we have an open door policy. So it's important that we understand that a larger part of our day as a team leader is really out of our control, and we need to plan for that. This all makes planning really very challenging, and so this is why I encourage community members that what we need to do is we need to start our day at 10,000 feet. We need to look at what is it that I need to accomplish? What did I not accomplish the previous day? So one of the questions I think that it's great to ask is, what did I fail to complete that was important? Did you focus on more items that are aligned with your success factors? So again, we have a whole program around your success factors. We should know what are the most important elements of functions that we need to do during the day, those that are aligned with the true success of myself and the team. And did you allow someone else to delegate something to you that you could have them do themselves? And this is really an important one. When we look back at the day, did you allow somebody to come up to you or to send you something, and now their sense of urgency and their fire becomes your fire? Now, that to some extent is our job as a leader of people, but we have to question that each and every time it happens. I think it's important that we spend a little bit of time each day in the beginning of our day and at the end of our day evaluating, am I doing the things that I should be doing? Am I getting things done that need to get done during the day? So I want to leave you with this thought. Our goal is to effectively balance the real-time needs of our team with the completion of success factors on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And that's really the element of success with leading people, is finding that effective balance. You don't always get what you wish for, but you always get what you work for. And by the way, a lot of this needs to happen in conjunction with your manager. So hopefully you're having one-on-ones with your manager where you can start to talk about that and share those challenges with them about maybe getting the right things done and not allowing that upward delegation happen from team members. So I want to just encourage you to join our community so you'll get opportunity to watch some other videos that I think are really great. I'll be posting a lot of different things on our community, but you can also interact with other people within that. So let's create a community where there's a lot of us that are coming together and want to learn how we can do this thing called leadership better together. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope you found this helpful.